And we're live.
Hey, everybody! How's it going, guys? We are here to. Oh God! Shut up! Shut up! Oh God!
Oh no!
What's happening?
Sorry,
Everything.
that was everything. YouTube was not muted.
Oh.
That is what happened there.
That sounds to me like a personal problem, Brian.
It was. I'm sorry.
problem.
That I had to inflict my personal problem on the rest of you.
You know, it's also your personal problem that you can't speak today.
Look. Shut up. Okay,
No.
I host this podcast. I have the power. Actually, Beau has the power.
I do.
Because Ian is late.
As the overlay says.
Yeah. He's not here yet. But yeah, hey guys.
Magic beat Sugar Rush in the chat says, imagine being able to speak.
But yeah, welcome guys. My name's Brian. I play Neptune Vagina Sales in RWBY Abridged. I'm also the head of the audio team.
You said it wrong, Brian.
I did? What did I say wrong? Neptune? Yeah, you're right.
You gotta put the emphasis on the teen.
Hey, is that Ian?
Oh.
It is me.
Oh my God, he's not late. I mean, he is late. Fuck
I
you.
am late. Don't say I'm not late.
You know how late you are? You're like 2 minutes late. You're fine.
You missed our terrible intro. Like, it's going so well.
Lovely. The pod is going exactly as scheduled.
Except you haven't missed the intro. Brian just introduced himself, and now you can because you're next to
Lovely. My name is Ian. I am the reason we are here. I blame my boss.
There, I changed the overlay.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Do I go next? Am I
you
going?
go next.
I'm also on this podcast. Hello.
His name is Forrest.
Yes.
He sometimes runs.
Oh my
Not
God.
Boo.
Boo, get off the stage.
Hey, Brian, you should leave the call right now.
Oh, okay.
Goodbye, Brian.
God.
Anyways, I'm next on the list. What's up, everybody? My name
Brian,
is
you were supposed to come back!
My name is Beau. I am the unfortunate host of this here podcast for 2 weeks in a row now.
And the unfortunate staffer we have to keep relying upon. Eh?
I'm not even
Beau,
home
staff?
right now.
Beau, staff?
Stop. Anyways,
my
I
God.
voice Winter and Ilya for KRWBY Productions. I'm also the head of the VR short department, and one of their lead writers as well. And I think that's everything I do now.
Yup. And tonight we are talking about a little known show.
What?
I don't know. Oh, well, okay. Look, Cole's not important because he told me to shut up. So we're just going to skip Cole.
Fair enough.
How it works, Brian.
Cole, introduce your damn self.
Well, no, I don't wanna. No, my name is Cole. I play Jean and Crow for RWBY Bridged. And Oscar. I forget about that sometimes. I don't do it super often. I guess I'll just do the rest of my introduction with Oscar. So I'm a writer for RWBY Abridged and for the VR shorts and World of Remnant Abridged. And is that all I do? No, I'm a co-director as well.
What's that? I feel like World of Remnant Abridged has not been relevant in forever.
Well, but it will be soon.
I'm looking forward to it.
You should. I think I'm pretty sure that's about it. Might as well move on.
Yeah, so tonight we're talking about a little-known show. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's called RWBY.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's that thing that, it's the sequel to RWBY, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Guys, I'm so excited about this episode.
So tonight we are talking about RWBY Volume 7, Chapter 3, Ace Operatives, which is only available right now on Rooster Teeth First. So if you are not a Rooster Teeth First member and you have not seen the episode yet and you care about spoilers,
Leave.
Here's your spoiler warning. God, I really can't talk tonight. Yeah, here's your spoiler warning. if you care about that, buy. But rest assured, it will be free on the Rooster Teeth site next week, so you can look forward to that, and then you can come back and watch this podcast because it will be archived.
So somebody told me that I should talk as Oscar the entire podcast, and I'm
I
really
will
thinking
literally
about it.
mute you.
I'm really thinking about it, guys. I mean, he wasn't in the episode. Might as well give him some presents.
He was. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, yeah, but he wasn't really that important.
Also, Artia needs to get out with those puns. Says they aced that episode.
Oh no.
Boo.
Boo.
Beau.
Hey, guys, they're pretty OP.
No. No.
So, what the fuck was that?
Sorry.
Just loud noise. Sorry.
Apologies.
So yes, this was an interesting episode. I have a lot to say on this episode. I'm sure y'all do too.
I most certainly do, yes.
So we start out the episode with them being assigned a mission. They're going to go with the Aesops to clear a launch site for the Amity Arena. And
I think you mean the Amity Coliseum.
Coliseum. You're right. Amity Arena is the video game. You're correct.
They are both words that mean mostly the same thing, though. So.
Yes.
Are you sure that's where they host the Vital Festival?
I think it is.
Now there was an interesting.
That was a mistake.
They need to clear. They need to clear the Grim out of the area. And there's a Geist there that's been wreaking some havoc. It's old. It's learned. And apparently also the dust there is important, which is kind of interesting because I feel like the SDC probably has an overstock of dust because of the embargo. Like we literally heard Jacques complaining about that back in Volume 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why they need the dust, but apparently they do.
Well, the big thing would be you'd have to transport in more, which would be a pain.
Also, think about, since there's no embargo right now, when everybody else finally gets dust, how much they're gonna need.
Right, but that's
a lot
after
more.
But that's not gonna happen until after the Amity Coliseum launches. So.
Well, I thought part of it is they wanted it to like actually do the launch. They were going to use like
right, but why does it have to be the dust in that? Why do you need the dust in that mine rather than dust that's already?
That's where the launch site is, so they don't have to transfer it.
No, let me finish. Why do you need the dust that's in that mine that you have to go in and send a team to mine out, rather than ship in dust that's already been mined, purified, refined, and is ready for use?
Maybe they need raw dust. Maybe they need it uncut and unrefined.
Well, who knows? Maybe they're just gonna like put the Coliseum on top of the mine and throw a match down.
Maybe they needed a plot point in order to have Team RWBY go out and do this mission.
So the answer is because plot.
Yes. Or some reason they have yet to fully explain.
Well, no, I buy the like we need to clear this LZ, or we need to clear this launch site. Like I get that. I just don't understand why they need the dust. I feel like there are easier ways to get the dust.
But Brian,
I think
there was a Bumblebee moment, so it's all okay.
You guys are jumping so far ahead. I have points I want to mention.
So
they go in to fight a Geist.
No, no, we're not at the Geist yet.
Beau, it's so funny when you're desperate.
Listen.
She's a desperate lesbian.
Okay, listen. The holo screens during the debrief says license status active. Are they now officially registered as huntresses? Because they have licenses now.
Oh, they just might be.
They might be.
It has all of them
as far
listed
as
license status
mean,
active. So I'm wondering if essentially they got grandfathered in because they're like, yeah, you've seen some shit. You're good.
I mean, to be fair, if anybody deserves to just be made huntresses, it's
the main
these
characters, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, after all that they've seen and done, I would be surprised if I was like, no, I need to test you.
Well,
Like,
I mean, even
you
the,
literally survived this thing.
even
No,
the
you need to go
Aesop
through
said
2
last
years of school.
episode, you know, the Aesop said last episode, like, you guys have been fighting just as hard as we have, possibly even harder. Like, you know, so I thought that was interesting. You guys just glossed right over the fucking Arcos feels that we had.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because we want those feelings to go away. They hurt so much.
They do.
Yeah,
hurt. They do
because
hurt.
we got a Bumblebee moment.
Listen.
Well, what?
Ah!
I also wanted to mention I really liked that Blake's haircut wasn't actually as big a deal as anyone was kind of expecting. That she was just like changing and she was just like, yeah, I'm gonna chop that off. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily, although, like, to be fair, like, and I even, you know, because I like maintain my undercut like pretty regularly, but I really only ever actively am like, you know what, I'm going to redo my undercut right after I have some kind of like big thing happen. So like it could have just been that she just was thinking about maybe doing something as like okay, I'm moving on with my life, and then there was just the opportunity that presented itself. But either way, I kind of like that it wasn't this like super over dramatic moment. It was just this casual, and Jean too. That it was
Ruby.
just like,
Oh, no,
my
Jean.
my hair is like in
Oh.
my face. I'm gonna just fucking
But,
slick
like-
it back like a douchebag.
So he's sitting there
Guys, I'm
being
such a Chad right now.
He really is, though. It's
Not a
such
Chad,
bad haircut.
Carden.
No.
Listen, listen. Guess what? I was a Chad.
Hey man, you're gonna have to rock the personality that comes with that haircut eventually.
I mean, you know, eventually, one day, hopefully, probably not.
I honestly think that my favorite redesign is Ruby's.
Oh yeah,
Same,
it looks
That
same.
so
hairdo.
good.
That new hair up, that is nice.
Although Crow's outfit.
Yeah.
I
didn't realize Crow was getting an upgrade too, but it looks good.
Bo.
the thing that I also liked about the transformation sequence that they all had here with all their different outfits and whatnot is that apparently Ruby's cloak, the cloak that she's been wearing, isn't actually special to her. It's kind of more the image and what the cloak means to her, not specifically this
Yeah.
exact cloak here, because she was excited to get a brand new one. And I thought that was
yeah,
interesting
I'm
too.
always having a moment.
I just thought
Yeah.
that was interesting that it wasn't like necessarily this specific cloak. These fibers need to stay with me. It's more the image.
Yes.
Yeah.
My
I
mom
get that.
gave me this cloak, and I'm gonna keep wearing it until it's
Right.
just torn to shreds and tatters. It's like, oh, no, it's time for a new cloak.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I actually kind of respect that.
Mhm.
I really respect that because there are a lot of shows that are like, no, I have to keep this this one item, no matter if it's actually a debilitating item to have on me at all times. I'm gonna keep it.
John
Fair enough.
and his little.
Well, the scrap isn't like a debilitating like item that's gonna cause you like to a detriment. That's
No, that would
It's
be
just-
his sword that isn't a gun, but that's fine.
I mean,
Listen,
well,
but
at
but
least
now
his
it's
sword-
a paraglider.
It's a very.
All
it's a
right.
paraglider, and it also like does like bursts of like energy now. It actually has like
yes.
a rally barricade of some kind.
It was described to me earlier today as Jean is basically now a Fortnite character.
Oh my god.
You know what?
Oh
That
my
doesn't surprise
God.
me.
Brian, you
I can
stop
totally
laughing at that. You don't get that.
You know, an interesting thing actually about that for whatever reason that moment where Jean glides down really felt familiar to me for whatever reason was and I went
Season
back
one?
huh?
Season 1 vibes?
Breath of the
See-
Wild.
Season 1 vibes, because in the audio commentary for season 1 they talked about they talked about a moment that ended up getting cut where the Nevermore had a wind attack that forced all of them to be like grabbing onto trees to keep from getting blown away, and that Pyrrha gets blown away, and Jean saves her by using his shield like a kite to drift back down. That was a cut moment.
Annika in the chat said John finally has a landing strategy.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking.
But yeah, I thought that was a really cool little callback to. They're like, we've had this idea bouncing around for 7 years. We can use it now.
Finally use it.
But yes, Crow's looking like a snack.
Long time coming.
It's so funny because it's a kite shield.
It is a kite shield, and he drifts
It's
down like a kite.
shield, and he uses it like a kite. Oh my god.
Yep.
Crow's outfit. Something I have so many like things about this episode because I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna have that much. Like, I really liked it, blah blah blah. But then when I went to actually take notes, I was like noticing so many things. Crow's sleeves, for example, have his emblem, and then the vine design looks like the design on Ozpin's cane.
Oh, does it?
Yep.
Interesting. I do see his symbol. Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I've got for a minute or two.
Artia's just harassing me in the chat.
Good. Artia deserves to harass everyone.
Oh, Brian.
Go ahead.
So I don't know if we still go with the whole in order section.
We do.
Oh, well. But the Bumblebee moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
So yeah, we get new outfits, we get new hair, we get new weapons, we get new landing strategies, and we get new scrolls. Yeah.
They haven't really told us what's new about those scrolls, though.
They
It's
only
like
have one side.
the fact that James still makes this joke, and like when he made this joke, it just makes so much sense. Why are they looking at their scrolls to measure their aura levels? That's kind of silly.
I mean,
It is
I think
kinda
it's
silly,
it's
but how often
more.
does it come up?
I think it's more to be able to tell how your teammates are doing rather than necessarily your own.
I mean, maybe, but like,
Which
that's so irresponsible.
Talking about managing their teammates, something that I noticed on this most recent watch through, like an hour ago, is that when Blake looks at her scroll, you can see that Weiss is at 95%, Yang is at 98, and RWBY is at 97 because they all use their semblances as part of their landing strategies. So it actually showed on the scroll that they were minus a bit of aura because they had used it as part of their landing strategy. I thought that was really interesting.
I'm sorry. I just have to point out that Annika in the chat said that what's different about the scrolls is the fact that they're a lot easier to misplace.
They're like
now.
Joy-Cons now. They're like the little controller
like a
for
magnetic
the
holster
Switch.
or something.
You know what? Instead of getting scrolls, they should have just worn scouters.
Oh my god.
What are
Like-
those?
What? Don't tell me that you're serious.
No, I am dead serious. What on earth is a scouter?
It's the hang on.
Is it? I'm probably wrong. Is it the blindfolds from Nier Automata?
You're very wrong. It's
okay. I'm
it's
sorry.
the thing from Dragon Ball Z that reads power levels.
I know.
Yeah, see, I haven't watched Dragon Ball Z because I have some decent common sense. Yo, Cole.
What's
the
my
heck,
scouter?
man?
Oh,
I have a scouter.
of course you
Yeah,
do.
good for you, dude.
No, like it's like a screen that goes in front of one of your eyes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh.
Great, it's Google Glass, but actually works.
Yeah. Yes, they have new scrolls, and then we have a Bumblebee moment. Now, I will let y'all talk about the Bumblebee moment however you want. I am personally going to wait to weigh in on the Bumblebee moment until we get a little further in, because there's also a moment that I think goes along with that.
I thought
agree.
it was so cute. Oh my god, it was just like, them being awkward. Like, you could definitely tell they like each other, and it makes me happy. Listen.
Yeah, it was
Listen.
cute. Sugar Rush, I can answer that question. My power level's 69, Deb.
Fair enough. So here's my question: is Black Sun officially next? I
think
want
so.
Black Sun.
See, but Black Sun doesn't want you.
Damn.
Oh.
That's rough,
Because
buddy.
Black Sun is the incorrect answer.
So
I'm
basically,
joking.
you take the scene with Sokka and Zuko, and then but it's Sun, and he's just like, my girlfriend turned into a lesbian. That's rough, buddy.
Wow.
Someone needs to make that right now.
Somebody is, I'm sure. This is the internet.
That's amazing.
So
I don't get it because I haven't finished Avatar.
Neither have I, but I get it.
Oh my god!
We were supposed to finish it together, Beau. We have.
Stop the presses!
Then they talk about leaving Oscar behind. They talk about not telling Ironwood about the truth about Salem. We've got a flashback where Oscar's like, isn't this kind of what Ozpin did to us?
I mean,
Yeah, keeping him in
yes,
the dark.
but no.
Kind of.
Yes, but yes.
So, I mean, we've already kind of talked about that at length last episode about
Mhm.
whether or not that was the right choice. And I think
They're gonna have to tell him at some point.
they're gonna have to tell him.
Like he's planning to put a coliseum in space.
Shut up,
To
Annika.
tell the world about a person that they can't defeat. Like
It's almost as though Ozpin did nothing wrong.
Oh, shut up, Cole.
Hey man,
birds.
hashtag Ozpin did nothing wrong.
he made them birds.
Bird, Ruby.
He turned me to a fucking bird, Ruby.
Speaking of, Cole, aren't you gonna get replaced as like the voice of Crow now because Crow's voice is different now?
Oh,
You know, so here's the thing. We should probably make some kind of official announcement about that. But even though Crow's voice has changed in the show, we do not plan to change our how we play Crow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Cole
That is
is
correct.
the only crow for my winter.
Cole is the only crow for our little outfit.
Oh, you
That is,
shucks,
unless you
guys.
decide to abandon us, then we'll get a new crow like that.
Damn.
Wow. Sounds like
They
you're
just
a
grow
real
on
bitch.
trees.
So don't
I
abandon
mean-
us, please.
Sounds
To
like
be- to
he's
be
a real
fair-
bitch.
Damn.
To be fair, the new voice actor for Crow, I can't remember his name.
Jason Liebrick.
Actually,
Jason Liebrick, yeah.
he is doing a really good job, in my opinion.
Yep.
Like
I
he
agree.
is. He
Yep,
may
so-
not be
so-
like Nick Mignogna Crow, but he is nailing his Crow.
So
the T.
so I've quoted you on this a lot, Ian, where at the beginning it was he's got my attention. I need him to sell it to me. I think this episode he sold it to me.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like he really
knocked
got
it.
that.
He knocked it. It was good.
Dude, I
It doesn't sound like
Big
Vix Crow at all, but it's definitely a really good,
It is
good
definitely
performance.
Crow. I do not question that it is Crow
Mhm.
by this time. It's like, yeah, that's what he may not be like you said that Crow, but he is Crow. And I
Yeah.
believe it's him talking when he says something.
Yeah,
And
it
he's
feels like crow.
his Crow is a lot more emotional. I believe.
Just got to point out, Annika said that Cole has to pretend to be less drunk, but except for the fact that I'm never drunk when I record because I am underage.
Yeah, Cole
But
is
you're
So
drunk
you
other
said-
times?
So you said,
No, I don't drink.
mm,
Yes. Then we also have a little Renora moment.
more
where-
like a Nora is just depresso moment.
Yeah.
It was- it
Nora
was a
gets
one-
shot down so hard.
It was a
I-
one-sided Renora moment.
Yeah.
it was a Nora wants attention, but Ren doesn't give it to her moment.
And then Jean is like, I like your outfit.
I love
Not helping Sean.
I like your outfit.
And she's just like,
Oh.
and then just keeps walking, and it's just like, she's just like, I don't fucking care, Jean.
I don't give a shit, John. Did I ask
You're not
you?
my OTP.
Pretty
Yeah.
positive I didn't ask you.
That moment straight up had me like laughing out loud, like actually LOL, because it was just so like, it honestly felt like how we write Jean for like the VR shorts and whatnot.
Because that's how he is.
But it really just felt like such an over the top, just I like your outfit too. And then Nora just like completely ignoring him and continuing on. It just felt like such a funny moment that I was like, oh my god, I love this moment.
It's a very like season 1 Jean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back
Definitely.
when he was the comic relief character instead of just being depressed all the
Somebody's
time.
kinda not in character enough.
Well.
Well, I'm just gonna talk as Crow the rest of the time.
Good luck with that.
Didn't you
So-
say you were gonna talk as Oscar the rest of the time?
Listen, don't you dare fucking doubt my ability to multitask.
So you're gonna double voice?
Yes.
You're gonna speak as Crow and Oscar at the same time?
You got a problem with that?
Oh,
No,
no.
I'm just surprised by your
God.
goal.
Is this what Oscar sounds like post puberty?
It's like Oscar
No,
after like
actually,
smoking a pack of
Oscar
cigarettes
post
every
puberty
day for
sounds
60
more like
years.
this. I've always played him more like this.
Well done.
So,
One thing on the outfits for like, because I
Uh-huh.
do really like the new outfits, except Sean's hair, for their team.
Yeah, same.
I mean, Nora's outfit's freaking amazing, and one of the few that actually looks like winter clothes, which, you know, they're in the snow. Please put some jackets on, people. But I noticed that Ren has his dagger on his arm now.
Mhm.
Like his dad, was it his
Ren-
dad's dagger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ren is also Shingeki no Kyojin.
Oh yeah, he's got like the
Fucking grappling hooks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he's
hook
got
shot.
the ODM gear.
ODM, yeah.
Annika, he has a hook shot. She gets that.
Oh my god.
Now, it turns out that this mine that they're going into is actually a mine we know about if you've
Mhm.
watched any of the trailers. This is the site of the famous mine collapse.
Stop. We're talking. I'm relevant
Sorry.
again.
Good night.
This is the site of the famous mine collapse that Ilya was talking about, in which she broke her friend's teeth over it.
Well, because her parents fucking died. It wasn't
Well,
it wasn't just like, oh man, this mine exploded. Come here, I'm
Oh,
gonna
God,
punch
my
you in the
parents.
teeth. It was like,
Wait, her parents died in that mine?
yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I didn't okay, that's a lot
Because-
sadder.
Yeah,
So Brian
because
just made
shit.
a horribly insensitive comment.
Because she talks about in the trailer, you know, that her parents worked in a mine, and then she was at school when the news broke that the mine collapsed because there was a dust explosion. And then later on in volume 5, I want to say it's like volume 5 chapter like 8 or 9, it's before the alleyway confrontation when Sun and Blake are talking at the beach. Blake says her parents were killed in a dust mine collapse when she was young.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Ilya's really tragic, huh?
Yeah.
That's a
They
So,
also
like-
keep like they want you to know that this is because they keep flashing to like the SDC logo on everything in the room. Like,
What
They-
you say?
The interesting thing about it is they keep flashing back to the specific crate where you can clearly see the SDC logo. Is
Mhm.
there's a deliberate shot of Blake noticing it, and she kind of just stares at it and almost like dissociates into it. And then Marrow is like, "Hey, like we need you to go do this thing," and she's like, "Yeah, right." And then she goes off, and then Yang kind of follows her gaze to see the logo as well. And it's obviously this very deliberate shot of the two of them recognizing the brand from Adam's face.
Yeah.
Hey, Beau, I want you to know when you say gaze, I thought Gays.
Oh God.
Gaze following. her
Take me
gaze.
seriously, Cole. God damn it. Talking about, I thought that was a really interesting throwback to them both having this moment of like recognizing that logo because that was what was on Adam's face. That was what was branded on Adam's face. You know, like
Yeah. See,
showing a little bit of that repercussion of like this is something that they both went through together, and I'm hoping they address it in the future.
I assume, yeah, I didn't catch their gazes looking at it, but I just assumed that was like for us, the audience, because they focus on it so much in this shot. They like a couple of shots of it, just in case, you know, the audience has recently seen the previous season. Like, oh, that's where like,
Mhm.
or I remember that, you know, just to hammer home. Oh yeah, that was the Steam Dust Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good people.
Now, and Weiss also has a moment where she basically apologizes to Blake once again for her racism earlier on in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is where I want to go back and talk about everything that's happened previously and kind of my thoughts on it, because they all kind of play together into this. Now, I might be a I might be an outsider in my opinion on this. I Watching this episode, I really struggled because, to be honest, for the first half of the episode, I wasn't the biggest fan. And I was kind of racking my brain as to why that was the case, what my issue was. And it boils down, I think, to these three moments: the Bumblebee moment, the Renora moment, and the Weiss apologizing moment. Which are three, which I would argue are three of the key moments in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going back and forth, like, what is my problem with this? What do I not like about it? Is it the written dialogue? Is it because I saw a bunch of people online who were like, Rooster Teeth, stop pushing Bumblebee, and it's just like, I don't give a shit about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can push Bumblebee all they want. I'm not like a hardcore Bumblebee shipper. I think it's cute, right? I personally don't care one way or the other whether or not Bumblebee becomes canon. We talked about it in the pre-show. I just want to make sure that if Bumblebee becomes canon, that it feels natural and that it makes sense for the characters, right? Yeah. And I can tell that that is exactly what they're trying to do, which makes me very happy. But I think the thing that finally hit me as to why I had such a hard time with the first half of this episode was that a lot of what happened, a lot of the written dialogue felt very forced. It did not make sense for these characters to be acting in this way in this particular scenario. Yang has quite obviously seen Blake's new outfit before, right? As has Nora. Like, Nora, Ren has seen Nora's new outfit. So why are they talking about this stuff all of a sudden on a mission, right? They have, especially in more recent volumes, they have been increasingly more professional about how they handle themselves on missions, about staying focused. Why are they talking about this? Also, why are they talking about what happened with Ironwood and not telling Ironwood? Why are they talking about that within, 30, 40 feet of the Aesops? Why is that conversation happen? Why did that conversation not happen immediately after they got to the dorm? Especially when they know that
back
some
in
of
the dorm.
Back in the dorm, especially when they know for a fact that there are people in the Aesops who are Faunus, who probably have extremely good hearing, like Blake, right?
Wolfman.
Yeah. So it and then so with and then Weiss coming back up, it all just felt very strange to me as to why they were choosing to have these moments here in this situation. And I think I've come up with how that could have been more naturally integrated into the story. I think having those moments back in the dorm, going and getting, like, having Blake come out after her haircut, after, in her new outfit, I think that would have been a perfect moment for, Yang to be like, whoa, like, and all of a sudden see Blake in a new light, like they're setting up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And have that awkward moment, and it would have felt perfectly natural. And same goes for Nora. I think having Nora come out and be like, "What do you think, Ren? What do you think, Ren?" And Ren just being like, "It's cool. I like it. It looks very practical." And Nora's just like, "Oh."
Poor
Like,
Nora.
you could have easily had that moment. I think having rather than having Oscar approach Ruby individually, having that whole team meeting in the dorm would have made a lot more sense. And I also feel like they no longer have to keep beating this horse of Weiss is no longer racist. I don't think
Yeah,
that
that
Weiss,
one I think I'd agree with you on.
like, Weiss is. We've already established multiple times now that Weiss no longer holds those views. I don't think that she needs to keep apologizing for it. Like they've already, like, her and Blake have already smoothed things over. The fact that Weiss is even there trying to fix things alongside Blake speaks volumes to her character.
I
So
think that it's a
well-
matter of you might not feel like she needs to keep apologizing, but she does.
Perhaps,
Because she,
but
especially here now where they're surrounded by they're in the heart of this mine that probably wouldn't have existed, that people wouldn't have died in if it hadn't been for the harsh work conditions that her father put forward. Like
that's true.
She feels complacent in it.
I suppose that's true, although I think it just, what I can tell you at least about the written dialogue was that it felt forced to me. I don't deny that I think that Weiss does feel responsible, that Weiss does feel bad, that Weiss does want to fix those things, and that Weiss does feel a need to apologize for it.
Mm-hmm.
But
You know,
it doesn't, but the problem is that it doesn't bring any new information to the audience. The audience already understands this about Weiss. This
That's
has
fair.
been
you know what I think could have really worked is if they just cut the dialogue from that, had Weiss look like regretfully at all the things happening, and kept Blake putting her hand on her shoulder.
yeah.
Yeah,
That would have been great. I think that would have worked beautifully.
That would've
Because
worked
it would have
really well.
also
need for
it would have also
dialogue.
shown how, not just because we have these moments where like Ruby and Weiss are real in tune with each other. We have several moments of like Yang catching on to Blake not being being upset or being uncomfortable, and vice versa, having them be really in tune with each other. But having those cross partnerships, like they're a team, they're not just partners. And having that moment of like Blake being able to tell like exactly what Weiss is feeling even without Weiss saying anything, I think would have spoken volumes to the connection that they have as a team. So my interpretation, this isn't me just trying to justify it. Like, I definitely get where you're coming from on the kind of confusion as to why they're talking about these things out in the field. Is my interpretation of it, which is why I kind of didn't really question it. Because Bumblebee is not my OTP. Like, I love Bumblebee, it's cute, but it's not my OTP for Blake or Yang. And so, like, I tend to feel like I don't necessarily look at it as, like, rose-colored lenses as I do with, like, Snowbird or whatever, where I'm just like, they looked at each other, it's canon. But, Winter yelled at Crow again, canon.
Beau, you're so gay, but it just doesn't show these moments.
But my interpretation of it was like, it was this moment where they've landed, like, yeah, she saw the haircut, she saw the outfit beforehand and everything, but they've just made their first jumps, assumingly as huntresses. They're down, they're in their element, and Yang has this moment of, she looks to Blake maybe to say something, maybe to just check on her, and she sees Blake in her element as a huntress for the first time. I think that's why she made a comment on it, because it was like this moment of like, it was the opening of a new chapter for them, essentially. That's how I interpreted it.
I suppose.
Could it have been worded better? Could it have been staged better? Sure. But that was my interpretation.
Personally,
I think that-
I agree with Brian that I think, to simplify this down, they broke the rule of show don't tell. I think, and I agree with what you said, Brian. Even if I've oversimplified it with my statement, I agree that those lines were kind of, they didn't need to happen exactly as the way they did at the time they happened.
Yeah, I think
but
that,
like talking about it in front of the Aesops, where, you know, hares have good hearing, wolves have good hearing, like they should know better.
I don't
The
think
Weiss
Harriet's
moment.
a faunus, though. She doesn't have a tail or ears.
no,
so-
the fox guy.
Oh, but
Or
he
the
said
wolf
he
guy.
said hairs though. Like
I thought Harriet was actually a hare faunus. It was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That would explain the speed type semblance.
No, I think she's just.
Um,
I think
yeah.
she's just.
but,
in the Speed
There's a
Force.
lot to say on that matter later.
Anyway, Yeah, so there is actually like a point to like, hey, they should have done this either at a point where they weren't in imminent danger or being overheard by the or potentially overheard by the Aesops.
On the go
On
ahead.
the just to finish up on the Blake and Weiss note, I wish they had done show not tell.
Yeah.
Like they didn't need to speak. No words needed to be said at that point. We understood because if you've watched the show by now, you don't need to be reminded. Hey, Shnee's family does some really crappy stuff to a lot of people who don't deserve that kind of treatment. But having
Especially
to
every
tell
new
us about
character
it
she
was a bit
meets.
much.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that I honestly think that they could have even had they had that moment previously, right, where Yang is just flustered over Blake's new look. And then they came out to the field and they could still do what you were talking about, Beau, of like, wow, like she's out in her element. I don't think that it like the dialogue didn't make sense because Blake is like, wait, like does it look bad or like that kind of thing because like that sounds like a first time viewing conversation, but they
yeah.
could
It
still
might have been.
like they could still have that moment where like just by like I mean I know it's kind of a cliche, but like Yang looks at Blake, is infatuated. Blake catches her looking, and then Yang looks away, embarrassed. Like that would have been all the information the audience needed to get what was happening, right?
Well-
And no dialogue is spoken.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate
I
here
mean-
for a second
All right.
with the scene in the cave with Blake and Weiss. Is maybe the reason Weiss spoke up about it is because they feel so comfortable as a team that they're willing to speak their mind. She was just kind of speaking what was on her mind.
There was also
At the
the
time.
other faunus that's in the Aesops that, for all she knows, has been assuming, well, she's a Shnee. What does she know? Like, and he even comes up and is just like, well, you're a human. By default, you get treated better than us. If you're not actively doing something to help us, you're hurting us. It's, and he essentially kind of passive aggressively undermines kind of what Weiss was saying essentially, and intentional, unintentional, regardless, he still implies that it's like, well, if you're not actively helping us, you're still the enemy essentially. And so maybe she kind of saw it as a moment to just be like apologizing for him to be able to hear too.
I suppose. I think that once again, I think that's. I think the moment really struck me as a much more personal thing between Weiss and Blake, and I'm like I don't deny what these scenes were trying to do, and I think that what these scenes were trying to do was very important. I just think that there were better ways to go about getting that information across. Now, to defend Miles and Carrie, who were the writers for this episode, a little bit and kind of play devil's advocate to my own argument, is I have sympathy for their predicament here, in the information that they were trying to get across, because I do think that getting the information across in the way that I stated earlier would have felt more natural, probably would have come across better. However, this season in particular, they seem to be sticking very rigidly to an 18-minute runtime. And it's something that I've said for multiple seasons now, which is I think RWBY would benefit greatly. RWBY as a show would benefit greatly if they upped the runtime to a full 24-minute length. However, I understand that is an incredibly expensive and logistically difficult decision.
Especially after the past few seasons.
Yes. They've, as we know, Rooster Teeth has already had to scale back on things. They've had the layoffs and whatnot. So they don't exactly have a whole lot of money that they can just throw around, and they most certainly can't throw a bunch of money at upping the runtime at this point in time. And I think that I understand that predicament, but I think that 18 minutes to 24 right? That adds an extra 6 minutes of runtime onto the show. That would have been enough to have the to do those scenes that I was talking about and do them justice. And it would have allowed them to even cut some time off of, you know, their conversations that they were having in the mine or outside the mine. But it, this the very but unfortunately, because of the runtime, they were unable to do that, and it really felt like they kind of had to consolidate. Maybe they did have those scenes, for all I know. Maybe the script was initially longer, but they had to condense those scenes into this particular section because they still needed to get that information across, but they just didn't have the time to spend back at Atlas Academy to really flesh that stuff out. So I understand the predicament that Miles and Carrie are in by going, we have this information that one way or another we absolutely must get across to the audience, but we have to do it in this place that doesn't make the most sense, and we're kind of backed into a corner there. So I sympathize with the difficulty of writing these moments that Miles and Carrie had.
Well, I was just
So-
gonna say, like, you know, call me a cynic, but I think it's also, you know, if they had done this scene in a place that might make more sense, in like the dorms or something, they would have to make a whole dorm scene with, you know, a lot of different assets that they're probably not going to use again. They're probably not going back to Atlas Academy this season. You know, they might, but I kind of doubt it. We're gonna get some field operations. We're gonna get some other cool stuff, but I don't know if they're going back to like their dorm rooms again. You know, I think it was just kind of a one scene, sort of in Atlas Academy there. So they'd have to make a whole environment to have those conversations in, and then never use it again. So, you know.
Perhaps, although I mean, we already saw them, you know, with their locker room environment, you know, pulling out their weapons and
Yeah, they
But
could have.
that's a much easier place because it's also part of Pietro's lab. I'm assuming that's it. That's easily a place that they could reuse.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, but even going back down and having this conversation in Mantle would have been better than having it 40 feet from the Aesops.
Yeah, I definitely was. If I'm being completely honest, I was a little disappointed that there wasn't like more that happened before all of the changes in their outfits happened. I was really kind of looking forward to this, like, even just like a montage. You know, they could have literally done a montage because we were talking about, you know, you were mentioning that they could have done the whole Bumblebee moment without any words being spoken. It could have been done in a montage, you know, it could have been, you know, Blake walking out and, you know, kind of brushing the tips of her hair, and then she like kind of like reacts and turns and looks, and Yang is like staring at her, and then Yang notices and like turns away suddenly, and then Blake blushes a little bit, and then that's it. You know, like, it could have easily been done in, like, a montage of them, like, making these changes or making adjustments and whatnot. But, alas, that's not what we got. But I do agree that the longer runtime would have allowed for more stuff like that. But that is a very hard call to make, and a very expensive one to make, too.
Yeah.
So here's the good question, though. How far along do you think they were with making Volume 7 at the time when the layoffs were happening and when they were having to start accounting for this?
Well, I don't think that really matters because at least my understanding is before you set out on a production, you already have your budget. And so or at least most of it. You've already allocated, this is how much money we're spending, this is the man hours it's going to take to do this. It's all very logistical, and that's all based off of this is the runtime for these episodes, right? And because the more runtime you add on, the more hours of work people have to put in to make an episode happen, the more expensive it is to make, right? So, you know, so a good production will have done all of this math well in advance. So whether or not the layoffs were happening before or after that, I don't think really matters because whatever their budget was probably already pretty well set in stone. But because of the layoffs now, we know that, you know, Rooster Teeth has had some financial issues. So we know for certain that even next season, we probably aren't going to get longer run times.
Well, the greater point I was trying to get at was, do you think that they had planned at one point to get 24-minute runtimes for this season, but because of the financial situation or any other factors, they had to delay those plans by a couple of years because of this incident?
I don't know
You
that we can speculate on that.
I don't.
can
Yeah,
we?
I don't really know that we can speculate on that. I'd say that, I'd say that RWBY has held pretty steady for its run times the last few years. So, I don't. My best guess, which has very little information to go off of to back it, is that it was probably not under consideration.
I
Hey,
understand that we are
I would
not
just like
both financial accountants. It was
I would
just
just like
an
to point
instrument.
out we've spent like 10
Yeah.
minutes talking about Rooster Teeth's financial status when it is 1 o'clock in the morning.
Fair enough.
Yeah. We should. So speaking of montages of things, I think the next like sort of section of the episode goes into all their new weapon tricks and tools and things, and I thought that was a pretty cool way to cover that. Do we want to go into that?
So that was actually, to be honest with you, I feel like that was really the entirety of this episode, was really new weapons, showing what those weapons are capable of, new outfits,
New characters,
and introducing us to the Aesops, and then showing us their fighting style, and showing us and giving us a little bit of development for our characters. I feel like that's really what this episode was.
Yep. Introducing their new kits and the new characters that presumably we're going to be traveling around with for probably a fair bit of the season. It seems like they're spending a lot of time on the Aesops and all their cool powers and things, Mr. Stretchy Arms and.
So the only thing that I could think of with Mr. Stretchy Arms, right? Like, I just kept thinking Elastigirl from The Incredibles.
Basically.
Like,
I was thinking Mr.
Wedgie.
Incredible.
His name is Stretchy Wedgie.
Now, and I also couldn't help but feel like, now, granted, I haven't seen this anime. I've only seen shots and bits of animation and trailers from it, but I definitely got the feeling that oh God, what's her name? Harriet.
With
Harriet,
the robo arm.
Yeah, with the
weapons.
Yeah, I definitely felt like that 100% had to be like paying homage to Megalobox, which was a major anime from, I want to say, 2 years ago now.
Yeah, going on that at least.
Which was basically like boxing with robot.
Can we talk about the fact that his name is Stretchy Wedgie now?
Oh my god.
Ew.
No.
We're not.
That's good. I'm gonna change that to my name on the KRWBY server. My name is gonna be
You
Stretchy
do that.
Wedgie.
I wanted to say, I didn't notice this, but when I was watching with Faunus, actually, with Crimson Faunus, aka also, RWBY, that's her actual name, that she pointed out that she thought it was really cool that Harriet's weapons are, they enforce her upper body strength, because sprinters often have trouble, like, maintaining upper body strength because of how much energy and time they put into, honing their legs. And so I thought that was really interesting that her weapon kind of like accommodates for that.
Do you think maybe also there was a little bit of My Hero Academia influence there, with like kind of that reinforcement?
No, Brian, because I've never seen My Hero Academia.
I can,
because I mean, even like there's even like the electricity like sparking stuff when she uses her semblance.
But see, that strikes me as Speed Force though, like the Flash.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually, speaking of semblances, can we talk about RWBY's semblance now?
But we're not. We've got a long way to go still through the episode, you guys.
So
no.
I don't necessarily have to go in strictly chronological order, but yeah.
I mainly want to talk for a moment about this new bromance that Crow has got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. that is quite
Bow shippers quivering in her boots.
That is quite the bromance.
Listen.
So Crow has now met a person whose semblance is
It's
good fortune.
it's a crowmance.
It cancels
my
out his.
Ew.
Get
Bam.
out!
Bam.
All right, I'll leave. Hang on.
I'm just gonna sit here and keep paddling my little snowbird canoe.
All right.
My little
Mhm.
snowbird canoe is going strong. No one's gonna notice a little canoe paddling towards the
Now, I
the
definitely-
final
Now,
stretch.
I definitely saw a bunch of people in the comments who were like, "Oh, I ship it so hard," and don't get me wrong, I think it's cute, I think it's funny. I don't think that's what's happening.
No, I think it would be really cool if like there was some character development because of this and became like an actual bromance, like dudes just being bros,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
Well,
Like
because
how
Crow's-
awesome would it be if Crow was like, "Hey, it's the boys,
Crow-
hanging out with the boys."
Well, it's an interesting bit of character development for Crow actually, because his whole thing it's Clover, right? The lucky guy, that's his
Mhm.
name.
Uh-huh.
He says, "Oh, didn't you used to work on a team?" When Crow's like, I only work alone, right? And he's like, "You had a team," and he says, "That was a long time ago," right? Because that's kind of Crow's whole thing, right? His semblance, as he's explained, tends to bring misfortune to other people. We've speculated on this, but maybe it ended up getting some of his teammates killed. Ruby's mom.
Mhm.
But here's a guy that basically makes that not a problem.
Mhm.
That's got to be like
See-
a mind-changing notion for Crow, I would think, in terms of like,
I
this
think
is a guy I
that's-
can team up with and not accidentally kill.
Yeah.
See,
yeah,
here's
I
the thing.
agree.
I think they're setting Clover up to die.
Uh-oh. Death flags?
Oh,
Yeah.
kill
The
sirens.
one dude he can't. The one dude he can't kill ends up dying. He'll be like,
Oh God, I can
Look,
just picture
fam.
it. I can just picture it. He's standing there. Crow's like, they've just both survived something crazy. Crow's like looking at him, and they have that moment of like, boy, that was close. And then he gets shot, or he
And
gets stabbed,
dies.
and he looks down, and he's just like, huh, guess I wasn't that lucky, and then just falls
Wow.
over.
or no,
Wait, no,
he's
no, no.
like-
Hey, wait, Bo, hang on. They always did call me a bad luck charm.
Oh God.
I mean, I was gonna say, I guess my luck ran out.
Hmm.
Oof.
Because
Roll
it's
up
like,
the ba-
Well,
what
like,
is it
doesn't he
with
have
the
like a
bad
lucky
puns
charm or
today?
something?
He has like four.
luck
He has
ran out.
he has a lucky rabbit's foot. He has a 4-leaf clover. He has a fucking lucky horseshoe. Like his
Yeah, like-
semblance is good luck. Like
Watch him
And
lose
he
like
fights
all of
with
them.
a fishing rod.
Yeah, can we talk about how stupid his weapon is?
well, I
Okay.
mean, it's because he's based off of an Aesop fable called The Lucky Fisherman. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's
how I
why they're
figured that
calling
out.
it Aesop's.
oh my God,
Oh
Cole,
my
you're
God,
like
Cole.
3 episodes late.
Dude,
Oh my
How did you not
god!
get that?
You ready? Are you ready for this, Cole? Okay, so Aesop's fables, right? There's the tortoise and the hare. There's the vine and the elm. There's the boy who cried wolf, i.e. Marrow. There's the lucky fisherman.
like, dude,
Oh,
man, you need to read a
So-
book.
I will say I didn't even question the fishing rod because I've been reading the Shield Hero, the Rising of the Shield Hero light novels, right?
Mhm.
And there is a character that was recently introduced where I'm at, who uses a fishing rod, and she's a fucking badass. So I was just like, yeah, fishing rod, that's a perfectly legitimate weapon. I have no qualms.
Don't question it.
Oh my
Like-
God.
Ryan.
Well,
So-
Can we?
speaking of Aesop's,
Yes, the
there's
Aesops.
also the can we talk about the semblance of the wolf guy, Marrow? Like does
yeah.
his semblance just stop time or stop things
Time.
move? What is going on there?
I
literally
feel like it
says
stops time for like
stay.
individual things.
He says stay. He has a dog command. He's a wolf faunus.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that's racist or not.
I don't think it's racist, but I think it's rude.
Well, because I mean,
realize
in
what he
the
said.
Team Coffee novel, they established that making jokes about a faunus's like originating animal trait is actually extremely racist. So like technically speaking, Yang using a laser pointer on Blake was hella fucking racist.
So
Ruby talking
funny.
about she does like tuna a lot, hella fucking racist. All
Well,
of Team
well,
Ruby
I
is
mean,
just racist.
Man,
Well, I mean,
Beau,
but like,
Beau, does that mean that we wrote a super racist line in the newest VR short?
Did we?
Yeah, yeah, we did. Yang calls Blake something at the very beginning.
Oh fuck, you right? Shit.
I guess got to go in and change a line.
No.
I think it's a little late for that.
No, Yang is just racist now. It's canon.
God forbid.
Oh my God! Jake in the chat just said he's a dog plunge with a boomerang. He's constantly playing fetch with himself.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
He's like, I got
That-
tired of people never throwing the sticks, so I made one that I can throw myself.
Guys, I want you to know that if we ever get this far in Ruby Bridged, if that's a big if, he's gonna be Australian because of his boomerang.
Yes,
Fair enough.
yes.
Fair enough.
Um,
I just want to talk about,
my name's Steve Irwin.
I really want to talk about, and you guys can make fun of me if you want. I have a new waifu. Friendship ended with all my previous waifus. I fucking love Harriet. Like,
Yeah,
she's
Beau.
she's such a
Beau.
babe. If you tell me I need to cosplay her, I swear to God.
No, Beau, I just want you to know, I absolutely saw that coming.
You know,
I saw Harriet, and I'm like,
surprise to no one.
like I saw Beau, I saw Harriet, and I'm like, yep, Beau's gonna like this character.
I
Let
really
put it this
want to
way.
cosplay them.
Harriet is hot.
Yeah, I really
Dude.
want to cosplay them because I used to do track and field before I fucked up my knee. So like, I really love. I love her design. Her hairstyle is literally like mine. It's just with the little blonde things at the front, which would be really easy to build or like make. And I really want to make her like punchy shit.
Punchy, yes, that's the technical
Her
term,
Iron Man suit,
basically.
Her megalobox arms.
her fucking exoskeleton.
But
That's what it is.
so they go in. They all have these cool little moments in the hallway fighting the Sentinels. Big ol' centipede grim, right?
Oh, so can we? This is where I get to nerd out about what I do, okay? Because
Uh-oh.
for as many issues as I had at the beginning of the episode with the writing, my God, the sound is so good.
See,
You know,
like the sound was really good, although I had just come off of watching Spirited Away, so I wasn't quite as blown away by it as I would normally be.
I need to go back and watch Spirited Away again.
Ryan,
It's good.
holy crap, the audio was godly.
why don't we just?
Good
The acting was also pretty good, you guys. That also exists.
The
The show we're
can't-
talking about.
I can't even like the level of work that they put into designing the sound of these new Grimm, the sound of people's semblances, sound of people's weapons, right? It's so in depth and specific, and it gives so much character to the show. And I'm constantly blown away by how much work they actually do. And how much time they spend on it, because for most animated shows, even with art styles as detailed as RWBY's, putting in that level of detail is just not possible with the schedules that they have. So either they've got really great schedules that allow them to do that, or they just go hard all the time. And either way, I really appreciate the work that the sound team does, because it's phenomenal.
No, I totally agree. It was really good. I especially really noticed the Harry exoskeleton sounded
Yeah.
freaking amazing.
Like I still remember the Twitter post from Philip Spann, who's the re-recording mixer, and also one of the sound designers, from last season, where he was talking about Maria and the fact that every single time she blinks, there's a sound for it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I don't know why I ever committed to that, but here we are.
Yeah.
Wait, repeat that. Did you talk to him?
No, he posted it on Twitter.
Oh.
Yeah.
What, you think our connections with RT go that deep, dude?
Excuse me, we've talked to that guy.
Yeah, speaking
That's
of
like multiple occasions.
speaking
Well, we've
of,
talked to Chris Kokinos.
Yeah, Coquinos.
Speaking
Yeah.
of the weapons, I personally am a huge fan of the redesign to Crescent Rose. And she has
Yeah.
an alternate firing mode too. She now has a barrel that can fire out the back end of Crescent Rose to help enforce like a stronger swing. Like, I love the whole like swings one way, rotates it, fires, swings the other way, so she doesn't
Swings
have
the
to
other
worry
way.
about having the momentum. She has that like initial burst from the fire.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Which is something she
real
uses-
cool redesign.
And she uses that all the time as like, I mean, her landing strategy is literally just shoot down.
It's funny because I was hanging out with Tina last night, and I was like, Tina, you need to like make Crescent Rose just spin endlessly like a fucking helicopter, and she
No,
absolutely did.
not a helicopter. A fidget spinner.
Oh,
No.
Oh my god!
No.
The world's biggest, deadliest fidget spinner in the
man,
most irresponsible
we
hand.
missed such an opportunity with the holiday short, Beau. We should have just had Ruby spinning on Crescent Rose, going dreidel, dreidel, dreidel.
Oh no!
No.
Brian, do you have any idea how hard that would be to animate?
I know.
But it'd be worth it.
Also, I don't know if that's racist or not.
It's a nondescript winter holiday, Cole.
It is. 2. Nondescript Winter Holiday 2. But,
So.
Here's a good question. Are we gonna wait until the holidays are over to put in our nondescript of the holiday, or do we have this down this time?
wait, the what? What was the question?
Didn't the last one come out like really late?
Yeah.
It came out like 4 days after Christmas.
It
dude.
came out
really
2 days
late. Came out on the 30th, actually.
Oh, I
but
thought it came out on the 27th.
I don't think so. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Anyways, this isn't Nondescript Winter Holiday 2, the podcast. This is RWBY Talk.
You'll get that eventually, guys. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I look forward to it, and I have a lot to say about it. But
Yeah.
what you call? Yeah, exactly, Prime. Thank you. It was still December, right? But anyway, so they come into this big cavern, right? And they're like, "Yo, where is this thing?"
Mm-hmm.
And
And it's just stealing all the dust,
mm-hmm.
infusing itself with dust. A little.
You know,
shit.
actually,
Yeah,
this
maybe
game
it works for Roman Torchwick.
Look, this entire world redefines the entire term of "eat my dust."
Another one bites the dust.
Now I saw a number of people. I saw a number of people complaining about the fact that in this final fight with the Geist, Team RWBY really didn't do a whole lot, and it was mainly the Aesops. And I'm gonna have to defend that decision.
I also would like to defend that.
Same.
Because look, guys, we know how Team RWBY fights. Like, I get that they're there to help, and they helped earlier on, but we don't know how the Aesops fight yet. We have not actually had the opportunity to see a bunch of professional huntsmen working at the top of their game, and this was the perfect opportunity to showcase that. And I really appreciate that. It kind of showed Team RWBY like, you guys are good, but
They're better.
they're better. Yeah, and they're like, and Team RWBY still has a ways to go. I really appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
and they work really well together as a team. That whole
Yeah.
fight scene, they're constantly like, "Hey, Hair, can you do the yeah?" And she's like
They're
already
all
doing
like
the thing.
drip
Yeah.
And, like,
compatible.
Yeah, here's a good, how many of the people are the just on the ASOPs?
5.
Like 5.
5.
This I think is the first time we've had like a large size team. Like
Ozpin
that's
is just
actually an official thing, not just like a group of people who need to come together to survive, but an actual official team that's more than 5 people. That's more than 4 people, though, just the
Mhm.
standard.
Ozpin's just back like in Beacon, like you're doing 5 people? Nah, bruh, that's too hard. It's too hard to make colors out
That's
of
just
5
one
people.
too
Yeah.
Like 4 people max.
4 max.
You
It-
need
it's-
5 to make your teams cohesive. Child's play. Sounds to
Oh, we
me
have
like
a-
somebody's making excuses.
We do
But-
still have a 3-person team going.
Well,
oh, wait,
that's-
a 3-person team.
Well,
a 5-person
technically-
team?
Technically, we have a 7-person team now.
Yeah, kind of.
I
It's
guess.
more like a 4-person team and a 3-person team. They're just
Nah, they're
mostly
one
a
team
team.
now.
all together,
It feels more like a 4-person team, a 3-person team, and a loner.
and then Crow,
Yeah.
and then also Maria in the last season.
Yeah, but
I-
Maria's a non-combatant.
I stand by Oscar should join Team Junior and it'd be Team Orange.
Team Orange.
LRNJ.
He does need a team.
I mean, John would be like, "All right, listen up, pal. Your name is at the front, but you're not the leader because I'm the leader."
um,
And people will be like, dude, is that haircut getting to you now?
Yes, yes, it is.
I wanted to talk about something that happens, once, they have all these awesome moments where we see how cohesive the Aesops are and everything. They're all like catching the different shards and everything. And then there's this one last shard that they're just like, Harriet, get it. And she's just like, yeah. And she goes to run and RWBY uses her semblance to catch it. And this moment really, really stuck out to me. Because up until this exact moment, they have portrayed Harriet as being this very competitive person. Even Vine at one point is like, oh, it's not always a competition, Harry, and then she even has a couple moments like throughout where she's just like, oh yeah, I'm excited to see what you do, and stuff like that. She's very competitive. And she has this moment where they could have very easily gone the stereotypical route and had her go up to RWBY and be like, I had it. Or, don't get in my way, kid, or whatever it is. But instead, she takes this moment. She sees that there's someone potentially not using their semblance to the best of their ability. Like, that they're not necessarily going at full power. And she uses it as a learning experience, as a teaching opportunity. She's impressed by RWBY, and she tells her about the differences in their semblance, that her semblance isn't like Harriet's. And I really think it says a lot about who she is as a person, because it makes sense that, her teammates may feel that she's really competitive because they're always around each other. They're always, they're always with each other. And so they've probably spent years dealing with her, like, her little, like, jabs about, like, oh, but I'm better, blah, blah, blah. I'm faster and everything like that. And so it makes sense that they would
She is the Hare from Tortoise and the Hare, right?
Exactly. So it makes sense that they would kind of be the ones to just be like, dude, chill with the competition stuff. But I really like that instead of her just assuming that it's okay for her to keep that same persona up with these new people, she decides to go the more professional and the more mentor route of just like, hey, like, I noticed that you said that your semblance was a speed semblance, but I've seen them before. I think there's something more at work here. And I really want to see that, like, friendship or even, like, mentorship kind of develop of maybe Harriet helping RWBY discover her true semblance. If that's not what her semblance is.
I will say that I think that Harriet does still keep up that competitive streak, even with Team RWBY. Like RWBY is super excited because Harriet has a speed semblance like her, and Harriet's like, I'm faster though, right? And
Yeah.
but even then, like, it's all like, I do agree. Like, she has an ego, she is competitive, but she knows when it's appropriate to set that ego aside
Mm-hmm.
to help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Actually,
really
I had a
liked
kind of a different take. It's similar too, but like not quite the same. The one that I had was as somebody who can be very competitive. At first, it's a child like, hey, I'm better than people. Then eventually at later points it became I want to fight people or at least I want to compete against people at their best. Not like when they're down or when they're in the middle of something. It's like I want to do them at their best. Haha, funny. But the I also interpret it as a down meaning like I want you to see if I can beat you when you know actually what you're capable of as well.
Yeah.
Like we'll see who's actually the fastest when you actually know what you're doing. You think you know, but you don't know, and I want to see what that looks like.
Well, yeah, but
So-
I think it's interesting because by pushing the people around her to be the best that they can be, it makes her want to be even better than that.
Mhm.
Exactly, and I
so
love that.
it is still competitive, but instead of being competitive in the sense of she's competitive, but she's a good sport. Like she instead of being competitive to the point of wanting to knock everyone down, she wants to keep people improving, so it forces her to improve in order to stay the best. It forces her to defend that title essentially.
Exactly, and that's what I'm driving at here.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I really appreciated that they went that route as opposed to just sticking with the like, because they very well could have done the whole, oh, I'm faster or, stay out of my way or I had it, like you shouldn't have done that.
Or
And
Punk.
and honestly, I feel like no one would have really questioned it, you know?
Mhm.
But that kind of really stuck out to me because it was like as soon as she started walking up to Ruby and she kind of like reacts to seeing Ruby like go past her, I was like, oh no, she's gonna like chew into her about that. And so I was pleasantly surprised to see her not do that, which I was just happy about
Yeah.
that.
I
Mhm.
thought that was really cool. I was
Yeah. Now I think a lot of us have always had our suspicions that there was more to Ruby's semblance, especially since the Volume 4 trailer where we saw Ruby split into multiple pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like fans
So-
won't know this because it wasn't on KRWBY at the time, but that was something I remarked on as soon as we saw it. It's like that does not seem like just speed. There is something else going on here, and it's
I
not
mean,
her silver eyes. That's
she
for
turns
sure.
into flower petals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
is full on
there's something
disintegration.
else going on.
Yeah, so I'm definitely really interested to see where that's going and getting more development in that direction because God knows any character development for Ruby, I'm here. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
if anybody needs it, it's her.
Yeah. So but yeah, that and then I still love the fact that Ruby is still Ruby though. Like even after the fight is over, she's just like swinging back and forth going, "We win, we win." Like,
Yeah, that was so cute. I just want to point out that
like-
somebody in the chat said said that Penny should join Team Junior to be Team Juniper again.
Dude,
So
that would be
sad.
great. That would be great. It'd be sad, but it'd be cool.
It makes me so sad.
Also, they need their team. They need the Uber hottie back in their team because they had Pyrrha, and she was, quite the looker.
Wow,
Just replace her
so
with Penny.
rude to Nora.
And Ren.
I mean,
Oh,
Penny
yeah,
is
and Ren. What the fuck, Ian?
Look,
excuse
dude.
me, Jean is best girl.
Oh, that hair.
I mean, Nora's always been a looker, but she wasn't like the looker of the team. She was always like the wild card that you
I don't
couldn't
know,
really,
man.
like,
Nora's
predict.
pretty hot in this.
Yeah.
She is hot, but she wasn't like the team hotness.
Look, I'm sorry. I got to agree. Ren sexual all the way. Ren, he's where it's at.
Excuse me, your son's sexual.
Given,
Look,
listen,
I
we're talking
can't-
about Team Juniper.
I'm allowed
okay?
to look.
We're talking about Team Juniper, okay? We all know that the best girl is actually Weiss.
Brian, the
Like-
correct
Yes.
the correct answer is just because I've ordered doesn't mean I can't peruse the menu.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
Just because Sakura is a goalie doesn't mean he can't score.
All right.
Stop,
Moving
Cole.
on
Just
from-
stop.
Well,
God,
the interesting thing about that moment, going back to that moment with Nora and Ren, is it really kind of hurt, to be honest, because like Ren was really kind of cold to her in that moment. And it kind of threw me through. It was a curveball for me, and to see how Nora responded to it, then quickly followed by Jean kind of lightening the mood of like, well, I like your outfit, and her just being like, whatever. But it's interesting. I can't remember what convention it was at, but it was several months ago, that Sam Ireland said that Volume 7 was going to be exploring a lot of Nora's backstory.
Ooh.
And so I'm really curious to see where that goes, because we still know nothing about Nora.
Character development. Character development.
The big thing for me in that moment was Nora is going to be like all over the place all the time, and I think there was just one of those moments like you caught Ren at like the bad time. It's not like he's going to be like the best boyfriend ever. It's just that you are in a combat situation, and Ren is one of those people who's going to focus on things going on around him rather than Nora's new outfit.
Right,
Now,
right.
I will say,
I mean, honestly, like that's he's probably being the most responsible. Like they're chatting about their new outfits and this is so cool. We're going on a mission. They're still, and then like the Aesops are like kids.
I was
But
about
Ren
to
is
say.
Ren is here like, hey, we're on a mission to go fight a golem that has killed people. Maybe we should focus.
That was like that was my take on it too, because like as I was talking about earlier about like these conversations not really feeling right in this situation, right? Like when Ren was like, I think we should focus on the mission, I was just kind of like, thank you, Ren. Yes, somebody that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I interpreted it.
I bet Ren is gonna flirt with her when the mission is over. It'd be really cute.
Although, some people could, and I saw a lot of people talking about this in the RWBY 7 tag on Tumblr, is it could also kind of be that hint, because a lot of people, ever since we saw the please do nothing to the cook apron, it headcanon Ren as being asexual. And that Nora's advances like that, when she's kind of a little bit more forward like that, it's just kind of like, Nora, please.
I'm sorry. I just thought, like, what if Ren's just gay? Like, and he's just like, I'm sorry, Nora. I didn't want you to find out like this. I didn't want you to find out like this.
Don't do me dirty like this, Brian. Just stop.
Except for the fact that they've literally confirmed that Renora is 100% canon. They are absolutely an item.
But no, I'm just having fun here. Like, what if Ren is gay and he's just like, I'm sorry, Nora. I didn't know quite how to tell you, but
Nora's like,
just stop.
Nora's like, we can work with this.
Jean and I are in love.
Shut.
What?
No.
Why did I get signed up for this?
Nora's just like, I mean, I can always share.
We can make this work.
Oh my god.
Oh no! Oh, and then closing out the discussion of the episode, rip Forrest, because that was the name of the dude that gets.
I died in this.
Yeah,
No! I don't care what his actual name was. His name is Mr. Incarcerated.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Exposition to you.
Yeah. No, that dude just can't catch a break, man. Like.
I mean, who says he deserved one?
Yeah, like he threw a rock at an Elysian ship. He deserves to die, right?
I mean, no, I was gonna
He's
say
trying to rock the boat.
Oh my god. No, like
that's his fault.
I also
he
saw,
rocked the thunder.
I also saw so many people, like including Annika, just like, Rooster Teeth, why you do me with these jump scares?
Yeah, they did 2 jump scares this episode.
Yeah.
It got me too. Like on my reaction, I jumped like a full foot, and I was like, "Fuck!" That got me. with the guys.
I would like to say with great pride that they have never gotten me.
So I think
doubt.
I think it's interesting that Tyrion is just like I don't know what Tyrion's thought process is behind these people that he's killing. Like, isn't it like, I feel like there's got to be a reason behind why he's killing these people, because I feel like even if he just wants to murder endlessly, I feel like Watts would be like, no, Tyrion, we can't have the reports of a serial killer in Atlas or in Mantle. Like, we can't draw attention to ourselves.
I mean,
Well,
but then
right,
again,
like-
maybe he's like, I don't give a shit. Do what you want.
I suppose it's possible. That does
Well,
seem like a Tyrion
I
thing to
don't
do.
think that
First-
that's the case. I think because he's still part of this organization, right? Even if he is a crazy lunatic who just like murders people all the time, as long as if it doesn't really matter to him, if Watts or whoever is telling him, hey, could you murder this specific person and this specific person, like he probably doesn't care.
Yeah, although I just don't understand
Yes,
what his thought
I
process
shall
is behind.
murder.
I don't.
Maybe it's.
I don't understand
'cause-
what his thought process is behind the people he's murdering, because like we don't know who the first person was that he
Yeah.
murdered, which
Thankfully,
was the person.
it wasn't Pietro.
Yeah,
Thankfully
right.
not.
But we like this dude. Like he's just a lackey in the political movement.
Well, I think
Yeah,
that
but
may
if
be
you
part
kill
of it.
enough lackeys, people start to notice.
Well,
Right.
right. And what you do if their goal is to sow chaos and to sow panic in the city, playing up this political rivalry between the happy huntresses, I guess, or
suppose
their
that's true.
fans,
Yeah.
and the Atlas military might be a way to stir up some chaos.
Yeah, I guess
Especially-
also
Atlas
showing that like they're not quite as safe in the city that they're told they're being safe in.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Especially if they're trying to, again, like stir the pot between Atlas and Mantle with the elections going on. Is
Mhm.
my understanding is that he had just gotten dropped off from being released from Atlas prison, and so the last place that he was seen was in the hands of Atlesian guards, and now he's dead.
And now he's dead. Oh, what a pity. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you say
Fair.
Atlas elections?
Yeah, there's
Are we-
elections going on.
Are we gonna see Ironwood pull a Vladimir Putin?
No.
Ironwood's not in the election. He's already on
Oh.
the
You see a
council,
Watts.
so
Well then.
he has 2 seats actually.
Yeah, he does.
Yes, yeah.
because
Well, then we're gonna see
because he's dummy thick apparently.
The club of my ass
Only
cheeks
wives
keeps
can be
alerting
dummy
the
thick.
Grim. I'm sorry, what?
That's a joke from like that got animated from a convention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
Throwback.
that is a throwback. It was like only I
can
could be dummy thick.
I
Or
love
something.
Katie
I can't
so
do
much.
White's voice well.
Katie
So-
Katie is best schneester.
So I think that brings us to the end of the episode. So I think now is the time for final thoughts and predictions.
Oh boy.
All right, I guess I'll go first. Just because, so one of us has to go. I predict that this next episode is gonna be really good.
Really?
Yeah.
As I always
Yeah.
do. But like, to be quite honest with you, I'd really like to see more Bumblebee because I love that ship. I want to see more interactions between the Aesops and between Team RWBY because it's very, very entertaining. I think they can learn a lot, and I think they're going to be this kind of mentor team that'll show them, oh, here's places we can improve. And because really, like Brian, you know as well as I do, the best way to learn is from a mentor. And I've learned so much from a mentor, and I think that them learning from a mentor will really help out a lot. And I think it'll be cool.
I agree. Who's next?
I want to see Cinder and Neo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I made that
Hon-
prediction last
honestly,
episode, that was
that's
wrong,
fair.
but-
Oh,
I mean, Neo is best girl. Let's be honest here.
No.
No.
No,
Weiss is
shut
the
up.
No, you're all wrong. Neo is best.
So honestly, I am ambivalent to where Cinder and Neo show up for a while. I am more curious about Watts and I can't remember Scorpion dude's name right now. Tyrion. I am more concerned about those two than I am Cinder or Neo. If they were to show up, I'd be like, meh. I wish that Watts and Tyrion were getting more of the 18-minute runtime right now because they're more prevalent.
For
'Cause what if-
reasons I'm not at liberty to disclose, but Brian and Annika will understand. I am on my Cinder bullshit right now. So I really want to see what she's up to, what Neo's up to. Like I want to see that dynamic
Mhm.
real
I
bad.
agree.
I think it'd be really funny if when Cinder and Neo show up, right? Like they wreck some plan that Watts and Tyrion have, and then Neo's just like, haha, you thought it was Team RWBY, but it was actually me.
But it was
Neo!
me. But it was me,
But
Dio.
also, Neo doesn't say anything. So she's just gonna flip them the bird as she's making her grand escape.
Da 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 da. It's a D. It's a motherfucking Dio double G.
As far as I'm concerned, I think we've had 2 episodes of exposition, 2 episodes of setup. I really want to get back to the plot.
Yeah.
You don't want to lay that pipe too long.
Yeah. I really want to move things forward. Like for the past 3 episodes, I guess really only the past 2, we've had they've been sowing these seeds of Watts and Tyrion up to something I really want to see more of that.
Yep.
I really where the hell's Maria? I want to see Maria again.
She's off with her boyfriend, obviously.
I want to see her off with her boyfriend.
Nah, I'm good. I think they're
I want to see more
having
Penny.
a private conversation.
I want a full-fledged Penny
want-
RWBY reunion.
Ian, I don't like that at all.
That's rough, buddy. Kidding.
I really want to see. I really want to see this discourse between RWBY and Oscar develop, because clearly Oscar has second thoughts about hiding this information from Ironwood.
Just a little bit.
So,
Second or third thoughts.
I don't really know. To be honest, the direction of this season is a little up in the air. But I feel
Agreed.
like
Well, I will
my
say,
hope is that the next episode will really, I think, solidify that.
I will say they did on the article that announced and confirmed that season 7's in progress, season 8 and season 9 are also confirmed, is that they did also say that the next 3 volumes are going to be very heavily tied together, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going, like, so this volume is supposed to be about the same length as last volume. Volume 8 is supposed to be a shorter volume, and then 9 is going to be, and the way they said it in the article, 9 is going to be the volume that ties 7 and 8 together.
So Beacon 2.0, but an Atlas?
God, I
Yes.
hope not. I really hope not, because Beacon didn't have a whole ass city floating on top of another whole ass city.
Yeah, but that's gonna make the stakes so much higher.
I wouldn't mind
I
if
want to
they
see.
well.
I want to see some more. I'm all for the Bumblebee. I'm all for it. They did say in the last season's commentary that Ilya will still be relevant. That she will come back. So I want to see Ilya show up. Maybe I think that would be cool, especially since they kind of made her low-key relevant this episode. I want to see some White Rose. Honestly, like I love Nuts and Bolts. Don't get me wrong, but I want to see White Rose, whether it be just them as partners, them as friends, whatever have you. I want to see Ruby and Weiss interact a bit more.
Bo,
No.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm on my Nuts and Bolts bullshit right
See,
now. Sorry.
but
What is nuts and
Brian,
bolts?
that's fair.
Penny and Ruby.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, Nuts and Bolts is my OTP for Ruby. Like, I'll put that out there. It's my OTP, but I want to see more of the partners interacting still. Like, I want to see the teams interacting. I want to see all of that happening. I want some Weiss and Winter. I want like another
Yeah.
scene with them.
That brings me to another thing. I really want to see Jacques and Whitley again. I want to see the Schnees.
Oh, they're coming, dude. They're in the intro.
Oh, I know.
I
they are.
wouldn't
I know they
mind
are.
if Whitley fucked off to Narnia for the rest of existence.
I was honestly a
no,
little disappointed and surprised that Winter wasn't on this mission, to be completely honest. Like, I want to see her be sent on a mission with them. I know that she's like the right-hand woman and whatnot, but she's also one of their most capable. Like, I want to see her like on a mission on her own.
Although to be
I think
fair, we
her
do
and
know
Crow
that
on a
she
mission together would
operates.
be great.
We do know that she operates separately from the Aesops.
Hey,
So
Winter.
I think
Shut up.
it.
Hey, Winter. Hey,
No,
1v1 me, bro.
no.
So
I said 1v1 me.
I just want to point out that they confirmed that Winter was absolutely trying to kill Crow that first fight, right?
Yeah, they did.
Like,
I mean, but
Like,
Oh,
Isn't that how
it's-
all great relationships
I have-
Oh,
start?
I
You
just
try
want to
murder
point
each other
out
and
that I've been throwing on a high pass filter for my voice, and it turned it off for Crow.
oh
So-
my
I have some thoughts. I have concerns.
god.
Hmm.
My thought is we have a lot of stuff that we need to cover that they seem to be trying to promise for this season. We have Jacques and Whitley. We have
you were about to say little Shitley.
Yeah, but my parents are home. Let me see. We have Ironwood. We have the stuff with Ozpin to take care of. We have Cinder and Neo to touch back on. Watts and Tyrion. It
Mhm.
seems. But my greatest concern is, can they stick the landing for everything they are trying to set up?
What
Yeah,
if
we have a lot
they
of
take?
balls
What if they just taking a big, dig, beat? Oh my God! If I could speak, a big deep breath, and they're like, and one episode just knock
Yeah,
it
it's
all out.
just
See,
for the entire.
know-
season, I don't know how they're going to touch on all of these points and resolve or meaningfully progress all of these points before the end of the season.
so here's my thing about that. You know what would really help make that happen?
Longer.
Longer run times.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna say that, but we've touched on that part. It's like they aren't gonna get.
Yeah, we
a
touched on
longer
that part
runtime.
for
And
like
you know what?
10 minutes.
I
10
think-
minutes.
Yeah.
I think that they should go to like their parent company. Like, look, people, we are raking in the money with RWBY. Give us money, and we can
We
actually
don't
like.
know that, but
Hey, Brian.
Okay, I am
just
assuming
to
that RWBY is a
spite
cash
you,
cow.
just to spite you, I want them to increase the runtime to 18 minutes and 30 seconds.
Shut up, Cole. But like, seriously, like their parent companies have the money to fund this, and actually make this thing like by
it's a
far more
much
successful than
And
RWBY.
complicated situation.
And I want all of that extra length to just be longer credits.
Shut up. Cole.
No, like a
You're
2.5 minute opening.
Oh, and they end on a picture that nobody took for an extra 5 seconds.
Oh my god.
It's,
You know
it's
that
like,
ending
sorry
pose?
guys, the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, but like still, like if they could give them that extra few minutes just to tie all this stuff together, I think RWBY could be like 4 or 5 times more satisfying by those extra 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering,
Wow.
unless they extend the season, which they're not, how they're going to hit on all these points. Unless this is an opening to tell us what we're going to be getting for the next few seasons, and we're going to continue to see them as the seasons go on.
Well,
But in which case, I would say that's bad, design for your opening, because we should be expecting to see what we're going to see in the season in the opening.
well, what I will say is that they, we're only 3 episodes into the season at this point. There is still a lot we don't know about what's in store for us this season, and I do understand your concern. However, the fact that they've already confirmed seasons 8 and 9 and have already told us, like, yes, season 8 is going to be shorter, season 9 is going to be longer, like, it tells me that they've clearly planned these next few seasons out very carefully in terms of what they want to hit. So I think that your concern, my general feeling is that your concern is something that they have taken into consideration. They know exactly what they want to hit this season, and they probably have a way to do it, but we obviously won't know until the season is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they stick the landing. I want them
do.
to.
I do want
It's-
to. Oh, sorry, Forrest. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, the intro doesn't actually, as much as I want to see some Cinder and Neo, action, see where they're at. They're not in the intro.
I mean,
No, they are
they
not.
weren't. They
Tyrion
weren't
and
in the
Watts are.
intro in Volume 6 either. Like, I mean, Cinder was, but they didn't reveal. that
Although
it
they
was
also
Cinder.
did a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, they also did a whole lot of nothing. Interestingly enough, here
Yeah.
we are again now, 3 episodes in, and we have officially seen everything that's in the trailer. So we
Well,
now
oh,
now
yeah.
have the implications of what the opening shows us. Yes,
Mhm.
But we've now seen
Surprise!
everything
Next
that's in the
episode's
trailer.
finale.
yeah, But what I do wanna add is something that honestly this like excerpt from the book really haunts me is in the companion guide. The last page says stories end. And they talk about how each season they look at the grand design of what they have planned for the story of RWBY, where they started, where the set definitive end is, and every season they have to decide how many steps towards that end they're willing to take, how many steps they want to take towards that final telling of Team RWBY's fate is specifically the wording they use. And what they are trying to do with RWBY is tell a complete story, and a complete story has an end. So I'm really curious to see, because they've said for years that God damn it, Cole. This is what happens when you message it. Fucking. Anyways,
Listen.
they've said for years that they had a definitive end, and that they've had somewhere between like 10 to 12 seasons, right? But I'm really worried because this is the first time they've straight up confirmed, oh yeah, we have the next 2 seasons planned.
Yeah.
They've only ever said, oh yeah, like this isn't the last season. But the fact that they're just like, oh yeah, we've got seasons 8 and 9 already planned and in the works is just kind of like,
So
do you have
you're thinking
more?
9 might be the end.
I'm scared that 9 might be the end, considering we got 3 seasons for Veil, we got 3 seasons for Mistral. Ideally, I would like, if they went with the 12 seasons, it would be 3 seasons for Atlas and then 3 for Vacuo.
Yeah.
Or they could even do, 2 for Atlas, 2 for Vacuo, and then close everything up with them coming back to Veil to try and clean things up at the end.
I
But I
definitely
mean,
feel
we're
like
still
that's gonna
missing
happen.
2 relics.
I feel like that
Well, 3, aren't we?
there's too much in the future for us to. I'm not sure they would be able to stick that landing for me. I know I use that phrase a lot, but it just seems we would need like a lot of progress to be made. And for the moment, we haven't made a lot of actual like progress towards defeating Salem since
I
ever,
disagree,
really.
considering that as far as season 3 was concerned, up until the end of season 3, we didn't even know Salem was a thing.
Yeah,
so
but
I feel like the information that we gleaned in Volume 6 is a move forward, and now they are in the process of trying to figure out exactly how to go about defeating her. And I think that 3 seasons is probably plenty of time to do that. I hope that you're wrong, Beau, that 9 isn't the end, but I
Yeah.
suppose it is possible, and
Well,
we
I don't
do
want
also
it to
have
be
to.
the end, but
I suppose it is possible, and we should also consider that like Genlock was quite obviously an attempt to have another major animated show that would sustain them as their centerpiece once Ruby's gone.
Although
You know.
Genlock is being moved to HBO Max, though. So
Yep. It is.
maybe 9 they'll move it to HBO for 10, and we'll have full hour-long episodes because HBO is just like, fuck it, we'll fund it.
you know what? I wouldn't
That looks
mind.
cool. Why not?
Plot twist,
I
the
will
CEO of HBO is actually the biggest RWBY fan.
Here's the thing. I actually wouldn't mind if what happened with Genlock, what happened, like it now being on HBO, became more of a thing.
Yeah.
Like, if Rooster Teeth. I'm not saying they're going to ditch RVB, because RVB is far too. I'm not going to say it's going to be far too niche, but it's just.
It really is, though. It's a very
it's so
specific
It's a very
audience.
Rooster Teeth
Stay
thing.
there.
Yeah.
But, the rest of it, though, like RWBY and Genlock, those can go on HBO Max. And you know what? Heck, I'll pay for both.
Yeah, I'll still support the hell out of them. Like, I have every
Yeah.
intention of doing it. Like, I've been here since the Red trailer, and I plan on sticking it through all of the spin-offs, through all of the books, all of the comics, all of it. Like, I'm a RWBY fan.
Yeah.
I just
So
I just
if
want to
that-
I
see
am a RWBY fan.
I want to see them be able to tell the story they want to tell without limitations like funding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if that's what needs to happen, Rooster Teeth, I don't know if you're listening, but I want more Ruby in my life.
Same.
Can you help me out? I need a fix, man.
You
So
got the good stuff.
So the last thing that I wanted to point out before we sign off here, just a tiny little thing that I forgot to mention earlier, is they are really piling on the Japanese culture with Blake.
Mhm.
You know, we
The gold
commented
fixing
about
weapon.
yeah,
Blake's gonna be the next Hokage.
yeah, we commented about how like Blake cutting her hair to symbolize like a new part of her life is a very Japanese thing to do, and now repairing her weapon with gold is also a very Japanese thing to do. If you don't know, the Japanese have a tradition of if you have like a vase or something that breaks.
I want to say it's called kintsugi or something like that.
Yeah, like if it breaks, you will repair it with gold rather than try to restore it to exactly what it was before, because the fact that it broke is now a part of that thing's history, that item's history. And to put it back together with gold, you don't discount its history, and it has come back from its downfall stronger and more beautiful than it was before.
I
this
know
kind of
that
symbolism
because of
behind
Ace
that.
Attorney.
Although I'm not too sure that kintsugi or whatever it's called is something that should be applied to weapons.
I feel like
Because-
repairing
Well,
gold
so
I feel like
I
that's a
don't-
structural like.
I don't think it is
Structurally.
gold. I think it's supposed to look like gold, but I don't think it is gold.
I
Well,
feel
it
like
might be-
it's
it
probably
might be a
reinforced,
lower-
like it's metal, but like they put like gold on the outside.
It's the
just to-
symbolism. It's the
Yeah.
symbolism.
And
of
it's
it.
Yeah,
it's
well,
it's probably just colored to look like gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it
definitely
is
not
probably
24 karat
merely
gold,
symbolism.
maybe, like,
I'm just saying, gold
18
is the
karat or
weakest
something.
metal of all
Yeah.
of them. Like, please don't tell me you fixed your
I mean,
weapon.
Oh, please.
with gold.
Technically, it's not the weakest metal. It's one of the weakest metals.
It's very
It's the
malleable,
softest metal.
whatever.
Like,
It's one of the softest metals.
Yeah.
oh my god. But yeah, I think.
But anyways, I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, so I think that is a good place to end it. Thank y'all so much for sticking around. This has been a lot of fun. We had some good conversations about this episode. We had some good critique. You know, I know that I had a whole long spiel on it. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you think I'm full of shit.
Brian, you're always full of shit.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
That's why we
say
love
it.
you.
Well, wow. Okay, there's my answer. But yeah, so we will be back. We will be back next week to talk about RWBY Volume 7, Chapter 4, whatever the hell its name will be. We're looking forward to it. Thank you for tuning in. It's been fun. Bye!
Bye.